we have two data sets, data set 1 and data set 2, and we decided to apply K-means algorithm on this with k equals to 2. Okay, so we know the procedure of K-means. So we randomly select two data points as k equals to 2 and label them as a centroid. Okay, let's say I am starting with these two data points. Okay, and as we have set k equals to 2, our K-means algorithm will forcefully find out two clusters out of this data set. Okay, because we know mechanically it will find two clusters in this data set, but as you can observe, there is no cluster as such in this data set, right? Because there is no partition among this data set. Okay, there are no two categories in data set. Okay, so now first problem that we have to address in case of K-means algorithm is how to come up with the ideal k value. Okay, so that is one problem with K-means algorithm. So beforehand we may not know the value of k. Okay, that one thing. Okay, now even if you ignore the this problem, okay, for clustering your data set should have some categories. Okay, for example in data set 2, now here we can observe two clusters. Okay, so we have this cluster, this one and this one, right? Okay, these 2 points may be noise or they are outliers, right? Okay, and second problem with K-means is K-means gets badly affected with the noise. Okay, as you have this noise point here, okay, and the nearest cluster would be this one, right? So this outlier will stretch its centroid towards it, right? आपको पता होगा, right? Average अगर बहुत ज़्यादा दूर है ये, okay, so it will try to pull that centroid towards itself, right? So K-means the working of K-means gets greatly affected by the outliers. That is the second drawback with the K-means algorithm. Okay, so it is very susceptible to the noise. Okay, so what is the conclusion? If you are interested in clustering, your data set should have that categories inherently, right? Inherently there should be some partition among the data set. Okay, so that is the argument. Okay, so we have observed two problems in K-means algorithm. First one, how to decide k value. Second one is the problem with K-means is very much susceptible to noise or outliers. Okay, so now let us see the theory part of clustering. Okay, so in clustering we are forming a group of data objects, right? As we have seen in this example. Okay, and what is our criteria? The similar point should form one group. Okay, so similar point should be in one group and dissimilar point, okay, so these 2 points are dissimilar, right? They should be in different groups. That is our primary goal in clustering, right? Similar objects in one cluster, dissimilar in different cluster. So in clustering we form a collection of data points, data objects, or we group the data objects. And how we similar to one another, the objects which are similar to one another will be placed within same cluster, and the objects which are dissimilar will be placed in other clusters. And what do you mean by cluster analysis? Finding the similarities between the data according to the characteristics found in the data and grouping similar data objects into the clusters is known as cluster analysis. Okay, and our criteria will differ. So in case of a K-means algorithm, okay, what is our criteria of grouping? We have considered that distance is our criteria. Okay, we are grouping the data points based on the distance between them. Okay, do you remember that formula, distance formula, right? So what is our criteria? The 2 points will be grouped together if their distance is less, right? So that is our criteria here. Okay, but I can come up with different criterias. For example, suppose I have student data set. Okay, now my criteria may differ. For example, my first criteria can be grouping based on branches. Second criteria, maybe I can group the student based on their cultural activities. Okay, now in one group there can be two students of different branches, right? So based on the criteria your grouping will differ. Okay, you got the point, right? So this criteria is very important. So let us see the formal definition of clustering. Given a set of an unlabeled example, okay, so we know that clustering comes under supervised learning, unsupervised learning problem, right? So we'll have where is the okay, so we'll have n unlabeled examples denoted by D set, and each sample is represented by x1, x2, xn in a d-dimensional feature space. Okay, so what is the meaning of this? So every sample is denoted or represented by d-dimension feature vector. Okay, so how my data is looking now? Okay, so consider this is my D set. Okay, and these are my samples x1 to xn. Okay, and each sample is represented by vector of d dimension. Okay, so this is my dimension 1 or feature 1, feature 2 and so on, feature the last feature. Okay, so this is how every sample is represented. Okay, so do you remember that example of height and weight? Okay, so every person is denoted by two-dimensional vector. Okay, so every person, so let's say person 1, let's say it has 5.5 height and 55 kg weight. Okay, so this person is represented by these two values. Similarly, here what they are saying, every example is denoted by this d-dimensional vector, right? Okay, now this D, set D is partitioned into number of disjoint subsets, DJs. Okay, how? So D will be a union of these subsets where this D sets, Di and Dj are mutually exclusive sets. Okay, their intersection is phi where I not equals to j. That means they are different sets and there is no overlapping between them. Okay, so this is my D set and I am partitioning into multiple subset and they are mutually exclusive. Okay, and that is, this whole process is governed by that criteria. Okay, and this partitioning is happening based on the given criteria. Okay, so let us revise the definition of clustering. So you have a set of n unlabeled example denoted by D, okay, x1 to xn. You have partitioned that set D into number of disjoint subsets DJs, okay, such that, okay, so we have formed k clusters. J is varying from 1 to k, such that no two subsets are overlapping. Okay, their intersection is disjoint where the points in each subsets are similar to each other according to the given criteria. Okay, and we will not leave any point. Okay, so all points will be covered in one of the subset. Okay, you got the definition. Will not ignore any data point. Okay, all the clusters will be mutually exclusive. Okay, so as discussed, clustering comes under unsupervised learning problem. Okay, there are no predefined classes. And what are the typical applications of clustering? It can be used as a standalone tool to get insight into the data distribution. Okay, you have unlabeled data. Okay, unlabeled data means you have simple readings of the data. Okay, there are no class labels. So in order to get the insight into that data, we can apply a clustering. For example, if I have reading of 100 data points, I can apply the clustering. I can see means what clusters I am getting. From that I can get some information. Then it can be used as a pre-processing steps for other algorithm. Okay, so let me give you one example explaining these 2 points. Okay, now consider you have got one data set, and that data set is of apples. Okay, in data set you have simple reading and not much information is given to you. Okay, so you may have reading of its weight, its size, its taste. Okay, whether it is sweet in nature or tangy in nature, tangy in taste. Okay, taste, and then color. Okay, and no labels are given. Okay, now you want to get some insight from this data. Okay, you have, let's say, 1 million records in this data set. Okay, now I can, okay, so no information is given about the categories of the apples. Okay, but still I can get some insight information using this data if I apply clustering. Okay, now if I just take these two readings, kg and size, and if I plot, so I may get plot like this. Okay, now clearly from this distribution I can conclude that there are two varieties of apples. One which are small in size. Okay, so we can see small apples in market, right? Their taste is little bit bitter, no? Yes. Okay, and some will be in the size will be large. Okay, and they are sweet in nature, right? Okay, so what I have plotted kg and size. So from this plot and by applying clustering, I have found out that there are two categories of apples in this data set. Okay, if I use another feature, okay, let's say test, I may get 3 categories. Let's say we have another variety of apple which are pink in nature. Okay, so if I use color attribute, I may get 3 categories. The set which was here, now it is splitted into subsets. Okay, one which is dark red, and one which is pink in color. Okay, pink color. Now their shapes are same. Okay, but their color is different and their taste is their taste is also varying. Okay, so by clustering, now I can conclude that I have 3 categories of apples. First one is small in size, एंड बिटर वन. ओके, जो टैंगीज टेस्ट वाला है वो. नेक्स्ट वन इज नॉर्मल साइज और लार्ज इन साइज एंड डार्क रेड. ओके, सो वी हैव नेम फॉर दिस एप्पल्स, राइट. वैरायटी के नेम्स रहेंगे. एंड लास्ट वन इज लार्ज इन साइज, पिंकिश and sweet in taste. Okay, so from this raw data now I have some information. Now I can easily label this data. So if what I will do, if I know the apple variety, I will take the actual sample, I will take its reading, and I will see whether it falls in this cluster or this cluster or this cluster. So if I know the name of that apple, let's say A, if it falls in this cluster, I can label all the data points which are falling in this cluster by label A. Similarly, if I can label this data points by label B and C. Now I have labeled data, right? So we can use clustering as a pre-processing tool to get some inside knowledge from the raw data that you have, unlabeled data, right? So in this way you can utilize the clustering. Then we have different approaches in clustering. Okay, so we have partitioning approach. Okay, so K-means follows partitioning approach, then hierarchical. Now partitioning is somewhat top to bottom and hierarchical is bottom up. Okay, so you means at the initial stage in this algorithm, every data point will be treated as a cluster, individual cluster, and then you start regrouping till so you will follow this process till you get only one cluster. Okay, so this follows bottom up approach. Then you have density based, grid based, model based, frequent pattern based, user guided or constraint based. But in our syllabus we have K-means and hierarchical. Okay, so we will be focusing on these two algorithms. Okay, now what are the properties expected in clustering? So as we have discussed, all the data points in one cluster. I think I have some typing mistake. I have made some typing mistake here. All the data points in one cluster should be similar to each other. Okay, so conversely, can I say similar objects should be in one cluster? Okay, all the data points in one cluster should be similar to each other, right? Okay, in other words, I can say that similar objects should be placed in one cluster. The data points from different clusters should be as different as possible. Okay, so consider this figure. If you consider 2 points in one cluster, okay, they should be similar to each other. Okay, so if you consider our iris data set point, okay, iris data set, so you have sepal length, and petal, let's say sepal width. We have 4 features there, right? So sepal width. Okay, now you consider 2 points in this data in this cluster. They will have somewhat closer sepal length and sepal width. Okay, their readings will be similar. And if you consider a point from this cluster and this cluster, okay, their sepal length and sepal width will differ, right? Okay, so dissimilar objects in different cluster. Okay, so now let us see the animation of K-means clustering. Okay, how our algorithm converges. Okay, so we know the algorithm. So we start with K value. You have to decide the number of cluster, and we randomly initialize our centroids. This mu are the centroid. In previous class we denoted centroids by M1 to Mk, right? So randomly initialize the centroids. Okay, repeat until there is no change in the centroids. Okay, so you have data points here. So let's say k equals to 3. So you randomly select 3 data points and treat them as centroid. So this point, this one and this one are selected as a centroid. They are marked by star. Okay, first choose k arbitrary centers. Okay, so this first step is done. Then we will go in a loop. Okay, so in first iteration, classify n samples according to the nearest mu I. Okay, so this is our criteria. So this data point is nearest to this cluster. Okay, for this now, so what you have to do, you have to calculate distance of each point from each centroid. Okay, so I will calculate the distance of this point from first cluster, second cluster, sorry, centroid, first centroid, second centroid and third centroid. As you can see, its distance is less for the center 2. Okay, so this will come under cluster 2. Okay, and so on. So this is my first grouping. Now my centroid will shift. Okay, so this is my group now. So centroid will be at the center of the group. Okay, so you have to recompute the mu I. Mu I is the centroid. Okay, so I will find out the updated mu I. See, star has come to the center of the group. Okay, that is my iteration number 1. Then iteration number 2. Again, you have to classify the n samples. Now your centroid has shifted, right? So its distance will vary for other points. So again you classify the samples to the nearest mu I, calculate the distances, that table. Okay, and now we have the change in the clusters. Same thing, again recompute the mean. Okay, do the shuffling. Then similarly you again classify the samples. Okay, classify the samples. Now again, as you can see, the centroid is not at the center. Okay, recompute mu I. Okay, now there is no change in the grouping. Okay, the centroid has shifted. Okay, but see, in the cluster 1 you have 3 points, 2 points. Okay, now yes, there is change in the cluster. Okay, now center has shifted. Okay, now in the iteration number 4 you will get the same grouping. There will be no change in the centroid and your algorithm will end. Okay, so this is the working of k-means clustering. I hope you have understood the convergence of our algorithm. Okay, now how to evaluate the clustering performance. Okay, so we have a measure called WCSS, that is within cluster sum of squares. Okay, so for ideal clustering, in ideal clustering you should have minimum intra-cluster distance and maximal inter-cluster distance. Okay, so what do you mean by intra-cluster and inter-cluster? Okay, so see the example. So you have 2 clusters. Okay, and the circle points are the centroid of this cluster. Intra-cluster means, intra means within the cluster. Okay, so intra-cluster distance will be a distance of each point from its centroid. Okay, so calculate these distances. Okay, and that will be your intra-cluster distance. So you will have intra-cluster distance for cluster 1, similarly for cluster 2 also, right? So you calculate the distance and then intercluster distance between C1 and C2. Okay, intercluster between the cluster. Okay, so there are now multiple combinations are possible. Either you can take distance from centroid to centroid, or the nearest point. Okay, so these 2 points are the nearest. So first one is the nearest distance, second one can be the farthest one. Okay, so consider this point and this point are the farthest, right? So for this distance, or you can consider the distance between the centroids, or you can take the average of every possible combination. Okay, so you take the distance of this point, okay, between this point, this point, this point, okay, and each combination, and then you take the average. And these distances are, we have a name for these distances. The nearest distance is known as single linkage. The farthest distance is known as the complete linkage. The centroid distance, okay, it is known as centroid linkage, and the average distance is known as average linkage. Okay, so for intracluster distances we have these 4 options. Either you can take the distance between the nearest data points, okay, from these 2 clusters, or farthest, or take the distance between the centroid, or you can go for the average linkage, where we take the distance between every possible pair, okay, and do the average, find the average. Okay, so what is the meaning of ideal clustering? Minimum intra-cluster distance. Okay, so you find these distances. Okay, so consider one example. Okay, so you have okay, so clearly in your data set you have 3 cluster, but by mistake you have set k equals to 2. Okay, you are applying k-means algorithm and you have set k equals to 2. Okay, now k-means will give you the 2 cluster like this. Now if you find the intra-cluster distance, now intra-cluster distance will be more in this case. Okay, this is my case 1. Now case 2, if I apply the k-means algorithm with k equals to 3, now in that case I will get 3 cluster, this one and this one. Now as you can see, the intra-cluster distance has reduced, right? Okay, so this case is much better as compared to this case, right? Okay, so ideal clustering means you should have the minimum possible intra-cluster distance, and maximum, this cluster should be away from each other. Okay, maximum inter-cluster distance. I hope this argument is clear to you. Ideal clustering should have minimum intra-cluster distance, so your cluster should be cohesive. Okay, and maximum inter-cluster distance. The simplest metric is known as within cluster sum of squares, WCSS. This is also known as, where is my pointer? This is also known as inertia of the cluster, inertia of the cluster, and this is the definition of WCSS. It is a sum of squares of distances of each data point in all the clusters to their respective centroids. Okay, very easy definition, try to understand. It is sum of squares of the distances of each data point in all the cluster to their respective centroid. So How to calculate WCSS? See, so you first find out the centroid. Consider this. Okay, two clusters are there. These are the two centroid. You calculate the distance of each data point from their cluster. You square it and do the sum for all the data points. Okay, so D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6, D7. Similarly, you find out the distances for this cluster data points. Okay, D1 square plus D2 square plus D3 square and so on. ओके, ये हो गया क्लस्टर 1 के डेटा पॉइंट्स. सिमिलरली इसके भी फाइंड आउट कीजिए. ओके, एंड दैट वुड बी योर WCSS. Okay, another name for WCSS is inertia, and mathematically I can denote that WCS by, okay, so my cluster I have, okay, C is the cluster centroids. Okay, for each cluster, let's say we have n clusters. For each cluster CK, each data point in that cluster, okay, you calculate the distance of that data point. Okay, from that data point to the cluster, you do the square and do it for all the data points and for all the cluster. Okay, simple. So that is the WCS. So in upcoming lab we will be seeing the implementation of K-means algorithm and how to find WCSS, and we'll also see how to decide the value of K. Okay, so we have one method to find out the ideal value of K. So we'll be seeing that. So any doubt in this today's lecture? The basic requirement of clustering is that your data points should have some categories. Okay, if you don't have such pattern, okay, your clustering algorithm will forcefully give you the clusters. Okay, so like we said, when k equals to 2, you will get 2 cluster, but that will not have any meaning. Okay, so your data points should have some categories. The next thing, how to evaluate your cluster. So for that we have these two metrics, intra-cluster distance and inter-cluster distance. In ideal clustering, you should have the minimum possible value for intra-cluster distance. That means your cluster will be very cohesive. Okay, like this. Okay, case 2 में जैसे था. And your intra-cluster distance should be maximum. Okay, so we'll stop here. Any doubt?